Welcome to the driver's seat. We're wrapping up a week with this beautiful Mazda CX50. It's the first ever CX50. And Mazda tells us that this vehicle is going to be a complement to the CX5. The CX5 is a global vehicle. The CX50 is more of a North American vehicle. In fact, it's made here in North America. And I think this is one of the most beautiful crossovers in the entire segment. There are 10 different models or trim levels, starting at $27,000, topping out at around $45,000 in this model you see here. All week long, this vehicle's been turning heads, and I could tell you that Mazda, in my opinion, is a company that's always underachieved. They make great vehicles. Most auto journalists prefer them over Toyota, Honda, Nissan, etc. They just drive a certain way, kind of a poor man's BMW, and I think that's evident when you get behind the wheel of one of these things. You take away the Mazda badge, not that there's anything wrong with the Mazda brand, it just doesn't have a lot of cachet with the typical consumer. In my opinion, with a $17,000 gap from the lowest to the highest trim level, there's one in there for everyone. This top-of-the-line model even has heated rear seats. We like what Mazda's doing here, so now we're going to take it off-roading and kind of show you a little bit of what it's capable of. And right now we are in off-road mode. They want us to do it in off-road mode and in normal mode to see the difference. So clearly in this off-road mode, it's going to show us that the vehicle knows what it's doing. You're getting the most traction from this G vectoring steering system that they have algorithmed into place. As mentioned, there are two powertrains. This is the turbo model, and it has 256 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque. It is a little rocket ship, in my opinion. Plenty of power. The base model, 187 horsepower, 186 pound-feet of torque. So again, the big gap. If you're going to step up to the turbo, the base model is normally aspirated. If you step up to the turbo, you're going to pay more, but you're going to get a lot more. And in my opinion, this is the one to get. You are in the driver's seat of the all-new 2022 Mazda CX50, the first ever CX50. It's a little bit larger than the CX5, and as Mazda told us, the CX5 is not going away because that is a global vehicle, whereas the CX50 was built for the U.S. market. In fact, it's built in the U.S., in Alabama, in a joint plant with Toyota. We are extremely impressed with this vehicle, and I'll go through the pros and cons, but this is a home run for Mazda, and I'll be surprised if it doesn't catch on, and if it doesn't, it's really going to be on Mazda's marketing team for not communicating the features and benefits of this vehicle. So the CX-5 is more of a traditional crossover, and this CX-50 is meant to be more of an outdoor, get back into nature type of vehicles. It has a lot of off-road capabilities that you won't find in other Mazdas. And even though it doesn't look like a Jeep or a 4Runner, and we're not saying it is, but it does have some some capabilities to allow you to go out into nature and explore. So we'll start with that. But right now we're on this sporty road here, this canyon road, and to me this is what Mazda is known for, their driving dynamics. It has this G vectoring steering system that really, it's not torque vectoring, but it takes it to the next level. And it really would take the engineers and their algorithms to explain that to you. All I can tell you is get in it, drive it on roads like this, and you'll see. Unfortunately, we're stuck behind this truck, so we're not going to really get to push it. One was about a lot of the questions about the infotainment. Well, it's small, and everyone else is going with these massive screens. Well, Mazda says, we want our drivers to be looking out the windshield, out the side windows when they're making a turn. We don't want them looking at their, big screen TVs. The gauges, even though the center is digital, the outer gauges are traditional analog, but it looks like you have a traditional gauge cluster. While we have this moment, I'll talk a little bit about the interior, which I think Mazda has some of the best interiors. They're relatively simple, but also functional and just high grade enough. Especially this is not a luxury vehicle, but I think Mazda's almost pushing that premium segment with what they're offering, but they haven't that has not translated to an increase in pricing. It was very competitive when you look at the rest of the vehicles it competes against. Now we're in sport mode. Instantly we feel that throttle response and steering feedback are sportier and a little bit more aggressive. Acceleration curve that they benchmarked vehicles like Porsche 997. Not to say that it accelerates as fast as a 997, but that they wanted the curve, the acceleration curve, to be very similar. And they've achieved that. You can see that the vehicle accelerates nicely, brakes flawlessly. This is truly a, dare I say, performance crossover, and not at a performance crossover price. The ground clearance is average, about 8.5 inches, depending on what you have in the vehicle and which tires you have. But they really are going after the overlanding market. We'll see how they market to them, but that is their goal. And as the chief product planner said, he took the CX5 out and did a lot of testing with it in some pretty rugged trails, and he was getting laughed at by Wrangler and Bronco and 4Runner owners, but then when he made it to the top, nobody laughed. Right now, I'm extremely impressed with what they've done as far as the handling and tuning, but I'm not surprised, because this is every Mazda 3, Miata, CX-9, you name it, they are all going to deliver performance driving. And you can't say that about other brands, including Toyota or Nissan or Honda, in their mainstream vehicles, but that's what Mazda is all about. I just want to add that for Mazda to take us on a road like this for a mainstream crossover is impressive. And it delivers. They knew what they were doing. Clearly they tested it, and I'm sure there was some pushback internally, but somehow the engineers and product planners and enthusiasts in the company prevailed. And I can tell you, 99% of people will never go on a road like this and drive this aggressively, but it sure is nice to know you can. As mentioned, this is the top. As mentioned, this is the top of the line Premium Plus Turbo, which is right around 42.5 as equipped, just under 45,000. The color is Soul Red Crystal Metallic. Really pops, and Mazda's always been known, I think, for their styling and their colors, but also the interior. I think what they've done inside of this vehicle is very impressive. A nice contrast stitching, and just a pleasant place to be around. Very little to complain about. I think sometimes you have to just break the mold, not buy what everybody else is buying. You want to stand out a little bit. I think this is a good option. I'm Ron Doran. Thanks for watching. See you next time on The Driver.